Hello, everybody. I am Chris from Edukid, a charity that's based in North Devon and works really closely with schools in Cornwall and Devon, in fact, at the whole of the UK as well now. I'm here to give a little talk. I'm really sorry it's not in person. I was due to be there today, but unfortunately, there's a very close family member who recently passed away, and it's their funeral today. So I'm hoping you forgive me, and this is a short presentation on what we do and the schools we work in. I'm just going to share my screen as we do this. So hopefully you can see that all right. So firstly, you can find us at edukid.org.uk. And we are a charity that was set up about 21 years ago to help children that live in extreme poverty around the world. These would be orphans, child-led families, those with diverse abilities, those who live on one meal a day, maybe less. And we film the children's stories, we show it in UK schools, and it's all about empowering the students here to become involved. And schools in Cornwall have been really, really active in this. We've got primary schools, secondary schools, and hope to also shortly have colleges and universities. So this is our website here that the schools will use and is available to general supporters. And I'd like to draw your attention down to the main page just here. So we focus on helping teach a global citizenship programme in UK schools. And it focuses on the rights of a child, what every child's rights are, and how that fits into the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So the UN will have 17 goals that helps breaks the cycle of poverty, hunger, water sanitation, all kinds of different things. And we'll show you how that links in. So previously, most children in the UK will either study in their school the rights of a child or the UN programme, one or the other, but learning about the quite depressing facts about the UN goals and not having an outlet to do anything about it kind of fast forwards them to the adult stage where you get a bit apathetic and everything's overwhelming and what can you possibly do? So we link our projects to their study so they can learn about the difficulties of hunger, and then we will give them projects that they can actively get involved in, fundraise, and help people get out of hunger, and they can even go and visit them afterwards. And this is all written into the national curriculum, so they can get awards for this programme as well. So if I just look down here and show you what we do in primary schools as one example, primary school teachers will go on here, just like secondary schools will, and they'll see the UN goals, and a school that works with us will just click on one of those goals, and they will have ready-made lesson plans, PowerPoints, teachers' notes to teach about it. And then we'll have the projects online to tell them a little bit more about it. Let me just get to show you this bit. So schools will follow the progress of young people in projects we work with abroad. So we work in Cambodia, Uganda, Peru. It's all designed to bring in different aspects of global citizenship. So in Peru, for example, we work with indigenous communities in the Amazon rainforest. And it's all about them teaching us what the issues are and them determining what sort of help they need and us learning from them and supporting them, as opposed to us imposing our own views. Uganda, a very similar approach in the north of Uganda, where there was a child soldier civil war on for 21 years, which ended about 12 years ago. Perfectly safe, but really there's so much need. Children living by themselves in bandas or what we would call mud huts, starving, orphans, can't go to school, can't afford the school fees. And Cambodia, a similar thing as well. So every school that works with us will decide how many children they'd like to help abroad. And that can be anything from 1 to 10 children generally. And they'll help, say, in Truro High School, for example, in Cambodia. They actually support a whole village in Cambodia. So they will do fundraisers like most schools do each year to cover the costs of sending those children to school in Cambodia, because when we can get them to school, they have the best chance of having the tools to break out of their cycle of poverty. And this is a little, you can see from the picture there, this is actually a picture of Truro High School here, where they had one of those powder paint fights and got sponsored for it, raised lots of money. In fact, in that one event, they raised enough money to send all the children from the village to school for a year, which was a fantastic event. They have lots of fun doing it, and it's very fulfilling. We do trips over to the projects as well, so the children can meet the children they've been helping abroad and experience the issues at first hand, and also build relationships, get to know the people and realize the difference they've made. The whole point of this, apart from helping the children abroad, is the students' development here of understanding who they are and their own identity and their place in the world, basically, as a global citizen. So when they leave school, they'll have studied with us from primary to secondary school, supporting, fundraising towards the children, going over and visiting them, realizing the difference they've made, realizing their place in the world, who they are, and we hopefully have more leaders in this world, more people that can make change and do a better job than our generation. As secondary school, I want to show you this level as well, because we tie into the Duke of Edinburgh Awards programme, and that's the bronze, silver and gold. And that basically gives the students a choice of developing their ideas on global citizenship to a much higher level. And they can open up a brochure like this, and there will be projects that our in-country partners have suggested will help them break out of the cycle of poverty. So as an example, they could fundraise towards doing a banana plantation. If you spend £6 planting one banana tree, that banana tree will give a crop for 5 to 6 years, £4 a year. And so the students here start learning about the long-term sustainability, about empowering a community rather than that community being dependent on institutionalized charities helping them along the way. And so it's all about developing our understanding of international development as well. Loads of different programs going on there. We've got from cocoa plantations to coffee plantations, banana plantations, microfinance, helping children with diverse abilities, adapting their schools so people of all abilities can go to school, because Northern Uganda, you're excluded if you have any kind of physical or learning diverse ability. So there's a way of taking it to a much deeper level. And then if I take you up to the top of this page here and take you down to, where are we? I'm just sorry, bear with me 1 second. Get involved, I think it might be actually. Yeah, so this is the team that work for Edukid. This is important because what we want to do is build a pathway for students. So at primary school, you start getting involved doing the Global Citizenship Programme. And there's a 3-tier awards programme where you get medals and certificates. It's all about the teacher teaching the class for the first one, and then the class sharing their understanding of what they've learned, maybe on water sanitation and wells, and sharing that with another class in their school and learning how to talk about it. And then the final stage is them sharing it with their wider community. Then when they go to secondary school, then you can do the D of E to bronze, silver and gold and do residentials with us. But then when students leave school, quite often they've really got involved and they're passionate about it. So we're looking at pathways of how they can continue to get involved. So Sophie Gilbert, you can see there, she went out on one of the trips. She was involved from year 7 at school, went on a 6th form trip to Uganda, volunteered when she left school with us in Cambodia, and then worked with us for 5 years, creating this website, delivering it into schools, getting more students involved. In fact, I think she got about 80 new schools to get work with Edukid. And that's how she gave back. Cara Shepherd, on the other hand, was passionate about it, but she went down the academic route. She's got a degree and a master's in international development, and is studying a PhD, and will be Dr. Cara Shepherd at the end of it. And I now employ Cara to advise me how to run Edukid. And so there's a whole sales team there. Rosie Jones is a really interesting one because she's from Truro High School and went on a trip and was deeply moved by it. Chloe Lovelace is another one that's doing a master's. So it's really, it's there as a platform, and the idea is that Edukid will pass the work over to the next generation to work with. I just want to show you, if I may, the Get Involved section. I apologise, it's not this section. Life stories, there we go. Got there in the end. So these are the stories of how the students in the UK have impacted the children abroad. So Bonnie here was a street child collecting rubbish off the streets. Her parents wouldn't allow her to go to school because she's female. And we learned of her story and we found a family to sponsor her. And she studied for over 10 years to be a doctor. She's now a qualified doctor. And she still chooses to live in her slum. She goes to work at the hospital, uses all the money to look after her family and the wider community to provide free healthcare for them. And she works from 10 till 2 in the morning, every single day of the week for the entire year, giving free medical care to her community. Sanoon's another one who's just got a master's in international development. If we go down here, Jennifer's story here, where we found girls sleeping rough on a classroom floor. There were 20 of them refusing to go home because they felt their families were so poor that they would stand a real chance of being encouraged to marry because the families get a bride price and that money is used to send the boys to school and to feed the family. These girls wanted a different career. So we had a school in Devon actually that helped build a dormitory for 70 girls that now can have the same dreams and aspirations as girls in the UK. Lucky Peace story, another school very local to us. They heard about Lucky Peace being visually impaired and not being able to go to school. So we worked with the UN and we trained 40 teachers in 2 primary schools to do inclusive education. We encouraged the students to put ramps in their schools and bars and adapt the toilets so that everyone could attend. And now they're used as training hubs, so other schools send their teachers there and then go back and they do inclusive education. All because this one school local to you went out on a school trip. Ivan is a similar situation where we went over and we do a home visit to families in crisis, shared his story on the web. He'd lost all his parents, lost his granddad, and him and his entire siblings, his brothers and sisters, were unable to go to school because they couldn't afford the school fees. And overnight, we got that entire family sponsored by sharing that story through the school trip. And now all the children go to school and have the security of being able to study and hopefully break out of their cycle of poverty. But it only happened because the school sent teachers and students over to visit and promote those trips. And then we talked about how this works out in the UK. So that's what Edukid's about. It's about sharing the stories, giving a voice to children in poverty, and educating and enabling students here to learn about it, become passionate about it, and get involved. I want to finish this presentation with a short film. If you'll bear with me a second, a short film which every time we go over, we make these short films to, I can't multitask. We make these short films done largely by students to enable them to give a voice to the children of poverty, and that's what we show in the assemblies. So if you bear with me for 1 second. Coming under all fast part. So that was the story of the children going to the well, the local well near the school. I showed that because we show these in UK schools. It was made for a primary school, which is why it's at a slow pace, but you can see the being educated into the water sanitation and the difficulties they've got there. As a result of that, actually, this week, we finished fundraising for a new well and raised £5,500 to do a new borehole, which will actually cater for over 1,000 people to have clean drinking water. And that has started from children learning about the need, being motivated, fundraising towards it and making a difference. And those children will now be able to go over on the trip, meet the people they've been helping, realise they've managed to fundraise for that and made a difference. And the difference that makes in UK students is phenomenal. The self-belief, the confidence, and it also helps them really think about the ethics and values at this time. So that's what Edukid do in a nutshell. Hopefully we fitted in the time that you had to share with it. I am just lastly going to bring up our contact page. Just here. If you are interested in learning more about Edukid, we would love to talk to you. Visit our website, which is edukid.org.uk, or phone us on 01237 237 086 Monday to Friday. And we would love to get in touch with schools. This charity isn't just for students, it's for adults as well. So if you'd like to go over, particularly if you'd like to go over with your children as well, we do trips all through the year, numerous trips, taking people out, just providing you the opportunities to meet the local communities, to experience the issues at first hand, to listen to their stories, to ask them what help they need, and for them to tell you what help they need, and then to enable you to be able to make a response and to make a difference. Certainly, the reason I set Edukid up was because when I was at school, you learn about these situations and you just feel powerless to do something. And these projects that we run, they don't change the world, but they did give you the opportunity to meet people and change their world. And we would love to hear from you, your school, you personally, if you would like to get involved. Thank you so much for listening. I hope the rest of the event's really happy.